Chapter 1, The Arrival. You arrived, not just here, in this moment, but across time. I've been waiting for you, not the kind of waiting that comes from doubt, the kind that knows, that trusts, the kind that smiles at destiny unfolding in its own rhythm. Because I know something you are just now beginning to remember. You are not broken. You're not lost. You're not late. You're right on time. And this, right now, is the moment you said you would return to yourself. Breathe, not because you're told to, but because somewhere inside, you can already feel the shift beginning. Let the breath not be something you control. Let it be something you allow. Because what's coming is not a lesson. It's a remembering. You've looked in so many directions. Searched for truth in voices that weren't your own. Felt the pressure of becoming something more. Felt the ache of never quite being enough. But none of that was yours. You're not here to fix yourself. You're here to reclaim yourself. I am you, but from beyond this moment. From the timeline where everything changed. Not because the world shifted, but because you did. I came to remind you of what you promised to never forget. You are not the result of your past. You're the author of your now. Close your eyes. Yes, even as you listen. Let the noise soften. Let the room become quieter than it's ever been. Because silence is not empty. Silence is where truth speaks clearly. And here's what it's saying. You were always meant to find this moment. Not a coincidence. Not luck. Not algorithm. A call. Answered. You didn't stumble into this. This found you. Right now, I want you to stop trying. Stop trying to understand. Stop trying to achieve. Stop trying to change yourself. Instead, listen with your body. Listen with the space between your thoughts. There's an ancient part of you that never forgot. It lives in your breath, your bones, your pulse. It whispers things like, you are light. You are not behind. You are not missing anything. And it's time to let that voice be the loudest one again. Today is not another day to try harder. It's a day to let go. We're not here to climb a mountain. We're here to come home. Let that land. Let it settle into your nervous system like warm sun through winter skin. I am not here to guide you with instructions. I am here to reveal you to yourself. This is not a transformation. This is a return. Place your hands over your heart. No one can see you. This is just you and you. Feel the rhythm. Feel how the body has never stopped holding you, even when your mind wandered far away. This body, it's always been your anchor. Now say, aloud or silently, I am ready to remember. I trust this moment. I am home my breath. And breathe again, not as a task, but as a gift. You may feel sensations rising. That's good. You're not doing this wrong. You're not too much. You're waking up. The frequency is shifting. Because you're shifting, the more you let go of control, the more you regain your power. That's the paradox of presence. So now we begin a deeper ritual. You don't need candles or incense, though you're welcome to light them. All you need is stillness and a willingness to see yourself clearly. Because what you're about to access isn't new. It's what's been waiting in silence behind the noise of your everyday. This ritual begins not with action, but with allowing. And your first task is not a task at all. It's this. Do nothing. Yes, nothing. Just be here for 5 minutes. Feel the sounds. Feel your feet. Feel the truth of presence rising like warmth through your chest. Pause. Let natural breathing and ambient textures carry the space. Stay here. No scrolling. No skipping. No escaping. Because presence doesn't live in the next thing. It lives in this one. You're doing sacred work right now. The kind that rewires timelines. You're remembering how to be. And I promise you, as someone who already crossed through the threshold, this is where everything begins to change. Chapter 2, The Release. You're still here. That already tells me everything I need to know. Because those who stay are ready to let go. Let's begin with a truth I had to live through to learn. You cannot carry what's breaking you and still expect to fly. There is no elevation without release. And so, this next part of your journey is not about gathering more, doing more, becoming more. It is about laying it down. Yes, the thing you've carried too long. The one thought you revisit every night before sleep. The shame that lingers like smoke in an old room. The belief that says you're only as worthy as your productivity, or your perfection, or your pain. This is the chapter where that ends. Not with effort, with decision. Not with drama, with stillness. Because release isn't loud. It's sacred. It's the quiet ceremony where you look at what no longer serves you and whisper, I'm done holding you. Not out of hate, but because you've finally chosen love. So now I want you to see it. Close your eyes. See the weight, the memory, the belief, the story, the version of you that kept surviving instead of living. See it clearly. Hold it without judgment. And now, say goodbye. You don't need to understand all of it. You just need to honor that it was never yours to keep. You are not the story you were told. You are the soul who chose to rewrite it. Place your hands over your chest again. Feel the warmth. That's not just your body. That's your power coming home. Say this now. I release what is no longer mine. I forgive a version of me who didn't know how. I choose peace over protection. Let those words echo, not just through your lips, but through your nervous system. Feel how everything softens when you stop fighting your own becoming. Let the pressure leave. Let the old versions dissolve. Even if your mind wants to hold on, let your body decide. The body always knows when it's safe to stop clenching. And now it is. Let it all go now like smoke rising in reverse, floating upward into the infinite sky. In the space you've made, you'll find breath. You'll find stillness. And more than anything, you'll find yourself again. You don't have to try to let go. Letting go is what happens when you stop trying. This is the sacred undoing, and there is so much power in it. Let go of needing to know the next step. Let go of trying to impress the future. Let go of waiting for permission. You are already the permission. You are already the portal. The moment you stopped resisting, everything began realigning. You may not see it yet, but timelines have already shifted. And as we continue, you'll start to feel what's changed. You'll start to feel you, the version of you that's always been ready, just waiting for the release. And now that you've said yes to letting go, we move forward lighter, brighter, freer. It's time. We go deeper. We go now into presence. Chapter 3, the presence. Now that you've released, now that you've chosen to set down the weight, you are finally free to step into what has always been waiting. Presence. Not the kind people talk about while still lost in thought. Not the kind that's practiced like a checklist, but the real kind. The kind that exists underneath the noise. The kind that doesn't need to be chased, because it was never gone. Let me remind you, you have never truly been disconnected. You were only distracted. You were never lost. You were just too far in the future, or buried in the past, to notice that the doorway was always open, right in front of you. Here, now, this moment, not the one after it, not the one you think you'll be more ready for. This one, place your attention on your breath, not to fix it, just to feel it. Notice how it comes and goes, without needing your control. Like a trusted friend, it shows up every single moment of your life to remind you, you're still here. That's not small. That's sacred. Now feel your hands. Feel your feet. Feel your heartbeat. Each one is a drum, beating presence back into your system. This is what it feels like to come alive, without needing a reason. No goal, no outcome, just this. This is the temple, and you're already inside it. Listen, can you hear the quiet now? That isn't emptiness. That's you without the static. That's clarity. That's God without the disguise. And in this space, you remember something most people forget. The future you want lives inside your presence now. Not in more effort, not in waiting, but in full embodiment of this exact breath. Let me ask you something I already know the answer to. What if you stopped chasing alignment and realized you are alignment when you're not trying to be? What if peace wasn't something you earned, but something you allowed? And what if everything you were trying to attract was already orbiting around you, just waiting for you to slow down long enough to receive it? Feel that. Don't think it. Feel it. This is where you stop moving through life like a stranger. This is where you remember that you belong in every room you enter, every sky you look at, every story you're still learning to love, because you're not separate from any of it. You never were. And now that you're present, now that you're here, you can begin to choose again, but not from a place of fear or lack or old identity. You can choose from love, from clarity, from stillness, because stillness isn't doing nothing. Stillness is where reality listens, and reality is listening now. So breathe again, deeper, slower, softer. Feel how you're no longer waiting for the world to change. You are already becoming the world you want to live in. Say this with me now. I am here. I am listening. I am enough. I'm already aligned. Let those words wrap around your body like a warmth from within. You don't need a reason to trust yourself, just a willingness. You don't need proof. You are the proof. You don't need to become. You only need to be. This is the beginning of true creation. This is where you meet the version of yourself who lives beyond effort. And now, we bring that version fully online. The next chapter is not about imagining. It's about activating. Chapter 4, the activation. You've arrived here with your hands open, with your breath steady, with your resistance laid down and your presence awakened. Now it's time, not to wait, but to activate, because everything you are seeking is not a destination. It is a frequency, and frequencies are not found. They are chosen. You don't rise by reaching. You rise by remembering. So listen closely now. This chapter is not just a reflection. It's a mirror that moves when you do. Right now, I want you to feel into a truth so ancient, it speaks in silence. You don't need to become who you already are. You just need to broadcast it. Let's begin. Choose one word, a frequency you're ready to live from. Not tomorrow, not someday. Now. Maybe it's peace. Maybe it's power. Maybe it's worthiness, love, freedom, joy, clarity. Choose it now. Don't overthink. Feel the one that pulls you. Place it at the center of your chest, as if you could imprint it into your very breath. Now inhale with it. Let the word expand. Let it spread through your arms, your legs, your spine, your throat. Let it become you, because it always was. You're not calling something in. You're turning something on. This is the activation, the space where waiting ends and becoming dissolves into being. Let me ask you something. As your future self who lives this frequency as breath, how would you move if you were already aligned with it? Would you rush? Would you overthink? Would you chase? Or would you walk slowly, speak clearly, act only when it's true? That's the invitation. To stop trying to arrive, and instead, act as if you're already here. Because you are. Right now, I want you to get up if your body allows it. Stand, feet grounded, spine tall, heart open, and now walk. Not far, just a few steps, but walk as the version of you who already embodies the word you chose. Not pretending, not performing, being. You don't need an audience. You don't need validation. You don't even need a goal. Just this feeling, this walk, this now. You're not chasing frequency. You are frequency. And every thought you hold, every emotion you allow, every choice you make is a signal. You're transmitting, always. So ask yourself, what are you transmitting when you speak? When you sit, when you look in the mirror? If it's anything less than the frequency you chose, then pause, breathe, and return. There's no punishment here, no failure, only feedback. Presence tells you where you are. Awareness gives you the choice, and frequency gives you the power. This is how reality moves. Not in grand gestures, but in steady alignment. You're a lighthouse. You don't chase the ships. You shine, and the right ships find you. Let that land in your bones. Let it echo through your spine. You're not attracting by effort. You're activating by embodiment. Say it again with me now. I'm a frequency I choose. I'm already aligned. I move as my future self now. You'll feel the shift, not always with fireworks, often like a softness, a settling, a knowing. That's how you'll know the activation has occurred, when you stop waiting for proof and become the evidence. The world around you is already responding. Watch for it, feel it, but don't chase it. You don't have to run toward what you already are. In the next breath, we will step fully into the path of becoming your future self. Not as fantasy, not as hope, as embodiment, as presence, as truth made visible. Chapter 5, The Future Self Now. I waited a long time for this part, not because you weren't ready, but because only now could you truly receive what I have to show you. Not an image, not an idea, but a version of you who already is. I live in a timeline that you once called a dream. Now I call it my everyday. I am not distant. I'm not mythical. I am you, without your hesitation. I am what happens when you no longer abandon your knowing, when you stop apologizing for your light, when you move from memory, not need. And now, you get to remember me. You get to activate me by bringing the future into this present breath. So let's begin. Sit with this version of you. Close your eyes. Feel the timeline where everything is flowing, where peace is your baseline, where clarity is normal, where your energy is sovereign, where love is not chased, it's chosen. You're not watching from the outside. You're not imagining it like a fantasy. You're there, right now. Feel what it's like to wake up as that version of you. What's the first thing you do? What time do you rise? What energy do you hold? What thoughts are absent that once consumed you? What silence has replaced all that noise? Now walk through your day. How do you move through a room? How do you speak to people? How do you speak to yourself? Feel the difference. You don't try to prove anymore. You don't try to win. You simply radiate. This is what embodiment feels like. It's not louder. It's deeper. You are the same, but not. You've shed the filters. You've dropped the weight. You've stopped rehearsing and started being. This is not a mask. It is a return to your original expression. This version of you does not ask for signs. They are the sign. They walk into a room and the energy shifts. Not because they command it, but because they embody it. This is who you're becoming? No, this is who you've always been, beneath the armor. And now it's safe to step in. Let me guide you deeper. Right out, in full detail, not a vague intention, not a wish, a living map of who you are. As your future self now, right? How you speak, how you walk, how you rest, how you respond, what you tolerate, what you release, what you believe without needing proof. And once you've written it, you commit, not to a plan, to a being. You will no longer act as if. You'll act as already. Let every thought, every breath, every interaction flow from that identity. You will stop asking, what should I do? And instead begin asking, what would the version of me who already lives this choose right now? And then choose it, even in the smallest ways, especially in the smallest ways. Because reality does not respond to grand declarations. It responds to energetic consistency. You're not here to get ready. You're here to live ready. And I know it feels like a leap, but trust me, you're already landing. You were born fluent in this frequency. You just forgot. And now, you're remembering, not with words, but with action, with posture, with stillness, with presence. You're no longer seeking the timeline. You are activating it with every choice, with every breath, with every moment of unshakable awareness. You are walking as your future self. Now, and in the next chapter, you will learn to live in that frequency, not just in silence, but in motion, in life, in flow. Chapter 6, the flow state. Now that you've remembered me, now that you walk as me, you begin to move through the world differently. You're no longer asking for permission. You're listening to resonance. You're no longer forcing your way forward. You're flowing like breath, like light, like truth. This is flow, not the kind they teach in books, not the one that requires effort or performance, but the kind that is native to your being, the kind that comes when you stop swimming against the current and realize you are the current. You were never meant to control the river. You were meant to become water. Feel that. Feel how the resistance leaves your shoulders. When you no longer need to fight time, people, outcomes. Because the truth is, there is no resistance in flow. There is only listening. There is only alignment. There is only now. Let's step into it together. Start by remembering this. You're not late. You're not behind. You are not missing anything. You are exactly where your future needed you to be. To remember that the path is not something you find. It's something you activate with your presence. So today, you let go of the plan. You let go of the checklist. You let go of needing the next 5 steps. Before you take the next breath, you move from the inside out. Let's begin. From this moment forward, for the next few hours, I want you to do something radical. Let go, not by giving up, but by finally trusting that. You don't need to push. What was always meant to unfold. This is the experiment. You will move only when something invites you. Not pressure, not fear, not urgency, only resonance. You will feel your way through the day, instead of thinking your way through it. You will pause when the world wants you to rush. You will rest when your body asks. You will speak only when it's real. You will respond only when it's true. And when the world around you asks, "What are you doing?" you'll smile because you'll know you're flowing. And flow needs no explanation. You've been taught that flow is a reward, something you earn after grinding, hustling, proving. But I'm here to tell you the opposite. Flow is your default. Everything else is noise. You're not achieving flow. You're returning to it. This is the home you left when you decided the world knew better. This is the language you spoke before you learned to explain yourself. Let's take it further. I want you to notice something. Synchronicities, those little nudges, perfect timing, the person who texts just as you think of them, the opportunity that arises when you stop obsessing, the door that opens after you surrender trying to kick it down. These are not accidents. They're confirmations, proof that when you flow, the universe responds in kind. You see, reality is not a machine. It's a mirror. And when you soften into your frequency, it reflects the softness back. Say this now. I'm not forcing. I am flowing. I move with life, not against it. I trust where I am led. Let those words move through your body like wind through open windows. And now feel the shift. Because I do. I feel how your grip on the outcome has loosened. I feel how your chest expands with more space than before. I feel how your mind, once rigid, is now quiet enough to hear the voice that's always been guiding you. Me, you, us. This is not about slowing down to do less. It's about slowing down to receive more. Because the truth is, the path was never blocked. You were just trying to run when you were meant to glide. And when you glide, when you let go, when you move in rhythm with what already wants to support you, you become magnetic. People feel it. Opportunities notice. Reality responds. Not because you demand it, but because you match it. You don't pull it in. You become the frequency that brings it forth. This is flow. And now that you've entered it, you're ready for the next remembrance. The art of non-resistance. The final release. The sacred surrender. That takes you beyond desire and into the realm of the inevitable. Chapter 7, the art of non-resistance. There is a moment in every journey when trying becomes the very thing that delays you. A moment when the effort to move forward is what holds you back. This is that moment. This is the threshold of non-resistance. You've already remembered. You've already activated. You've stepped in a flow. Now, I'm asking you to surrender. What might be the hardest thing to let go of? The need to control. I know what you're thinking. But if I don't push, won't everything fall apart? If I stop holding it all together, won't it all collapse? Listen closely. The universe does not fall apart when you release. It finally has space to reorganize in your favor. Because force doesn't open doors. It closes them. Resistance doesn't get you closer. It keeps you circling what you've already outgrown. You weren't meant to battle your way through life. You were meant to be moved by it, with it, through it. There's a rhythm to this universe. And you are a part of it. Not separate, not other, not behind, but right in the middle of the great unfolding. So now, I want you to go even deeper. Think of the one place in your life where you are still pushing, still tightening, still clinging. Maybe it's a relationship. Maybe it's money. Maybe it's healing, or proving, or being seen. You don't need to name it out loud. Just feel it. Notice where it lives in your body. The shoulders, the jaw, the gut, the breath. Now soften it. You don't need to fix it. You just need to let go of your grip on how it should unfold. Say this now. I surrender my resistance. I trust that what is unfolding is for me, not against me. I release control so I can receive truth. Let those words melt into your body. Feel your hands unclench. Feel your jaw relax. Feel your spirit exhale. You are no longer fighting reality. You are inviting it. There is something sacred about letting go with open eyes. Something powerful about surrender that isn't collapse, but clarity. You're not giving up. You're giving in to the current that already knows where you belong. And here's the secret you never hear in the noise of the world. What you chase, you push away. What you embody, you draw near. So when you chase love from fear, it retreats. But when you become love, it surrounds you. When you chase abundance from lack, it hides. But when you move in the frequency of abundance, it multiplies. And when you try to control the timeline, you step out of sync. But when you trust your alignment, you meet perfect timing without trying. Let's anchor that now. Place both hands on your chest. Feel your heartbeat. Steady, certain, unapologetic. Now breathe. Long, slow, present. You don't have to grasp. You don't have to chase. You don't have to fight the current. You are the current, and it's safe to flow again. This is the release that changes everything. Not because the world shifts, but because your relationship to it does. You stop needing it to be different, and instead, you become the difference. This surrender is not the end of your power. It's the activation of your truest power. The power that doesn't demand, but attracts. The power that doesn't beg, but radiates. Now, say this. I am not chasing. I am aligning. I do not force. I allow. What is mine knows the way to me. Feel the truth in those words. Feel how they unlock something ancient in your chest. You're not just saying it. You're remembering it. You're living it. And now that you've surrendered, now that you've stopped resisting what wants to support you, you are ready to become not a better version of yourself, but your most original, unfiltered, fully remembered self, the one who is and always has been divine, creative, whole, light. And now you'll live as that light, not in silence, but in motion, not in hope, but in full embodied knowing. It's time to return. As the conscious creator, you were born to be. Chapter 8, The Conscious Creator. You've arrived at the place where most turn back, not because they can't go further, but because the truth becomes too bright to deny, too sacred to explain, too yours to ignore. This is the moment of full return, to the place you've been circling around all this time, to the self who never left you, only waited for your permission to lead again. And I am here to give you the final remembering. You are not just in the universe. You are the universe remembering itself through your form. You are not a mistake. You're not a product of accident or coincidence. You are a conscious creator, and your very presence is creation in motion. Let that land. Let it move through you like a knowing deeper than language. Everything you touch becomes different. Every space you enter carries your frequency. Every thought you hold writes a line of the story this world becomes. The question now is no longer, what can I manifest? The question is, what am I willing to become so fully that the universe has no choice but to reflect it? Because reality is not outside you. It is not a stage you perform on. It is not a puzzle you must solve. It is a mirror, an echo, a dance. And you're the first move. You're not reacting to life. You are activating it with every decision, every belief, every breath charged with awareness. So let's make it real now. Choose one aspect of your life, just one. One space that's been waiting for your authorship. A relationship, your body, your work, your finances, your expression, your inner dialogue. Now speak into it with clarity, not from fear, not from force, but from truth. Say this out loud if you can. I choose how this unfolds, not from control, but from consciousness. I no longer wait. I no longer wish. I declare, and now write. Yes, take a moment. Write the version of this reality you now claim. Don't write what you hope will happen. Write what you are committed to becoming. What is this version of you already know is unfolding? What do they no longer tolerate? What do they create with ease? How do they feel, move, speak, respond? Write it with authority, not arrogance. Clarity. This is not fantasy. This is instruction. You're not writing your dreams. You're writing the blueprint for the reality your frequency is commanding into form. And now that it's written, you live it, not like an actor in costume, but like the soul in full bloom. From here on, you walk differently. You wake up as the person who already lives this. You breathe as them. You speak as them. You no longer look for signs, because you are the sign. Every time you align with the version of you who already knows, reality must adjust, not by chance, but by law. That's the sacred mechanism, not attraction, reflection, not manipulation, resonance. You are not a beggar of fate. You're a builder of realms. You're not pleading for blessings. You're broadcasting the frequency that makes them inevitable. Feel that in your hands, in your throat, in your spine. That's not adrenaline. That's truth. That's the part of you that always knew and is finally being heard again. From this place, you no longer create for validation. You create from overflow. Your joy is your strategy. Your peace is your path. Your alignment is your message. Your embodiment is your prayer. This is where spirituality becomes electricity, not something you study, something you generate. Say this now. I'm not the result of the world I see. The world I see is the result of who I am being. And when you say that, mean it, because now you walk as the one who knows. Every moment is the canvas. Every breath is the brush. And you are the artist, the light, the spark, the divine hand behind it all. You're no longer looking for transformation. You are the living transmission of it. And from this moment on, you don't just remember who you are. You walk as who you are. Every step, every choice, every now. Let that be the legacy you leave in the space around you. Let that be your offering to the world. And let that be the frequency that carries you into the final remembering, the integration, the return, the full embodiment of who you've always been. Chapter 9, the integration. We've journeyed through silence, through release, through awakening, through power. And now, we arrive at the most sacred part of all, the integration, because awareness without embodiment is only potential. Knowledge without action is still sleep. Light without form is still hidden. But you came here to live it, to ground it, to be it. Not just in meditation, not just in rituals, but in the checkout line, in traffic, in your morning coffee, in your silence when no one sees you. This is where the sacred meets the mundane and transforms it, because everything becomes holy. When you become whole, let me remind you, you don't need another technique. You don't need another step. You don't need to become more. You simply need to remember what you've already reclaimed. Feel this now, not as an idea, but as energy, as a pulse in your palms, as warmth behind your eyes, as the quiet knowing that doesn't need to be explained. This is integration, the unshakable presence that comes not from having all the answers, but from being the answer. There is nothing left to fix. There's only something left to live. So how do you live it? You don't perform. You don't preach. You practice. Gently, repeatedly, quietly. You practice choosing your frequency in the face of old habits. You practice responding from wholeness when fear knocks. You practice trusting that who you are now is already enough to carry you where you're going. And when you forget, because you will, you forgive, you return, you realign. That's the work now. Not intensity, not perfection, devotion to your breath, to your being, to this moment. Because every moment is a new declaration, a new chance to embody what you've remembered here, to make sacred what the world called ordinary, to bring presence into places you once abandoned. Let me ask you gently, how would your future self treat this version of you? With judgment? No. With pressure? Never. With compassion, reverence, softness? Yes. So let that become the way you walk. Let that become your default. Not force, not demand, but devotional presence. This is how new realities are sustained, not through willpower, but through energetic alignment practiced in stillness, until it becomes your rhythm. Let's root it now. Place your hands on your belly. Breathe into the place where your intuition lives. Say this with me. I trust myself. I carry this frequency wherever I go. I am integration made flesh. And feel that settle, not rise. Settle, because you're not climbing anymore. You're returning to center. You're coming home. Now bring this into motion. Walk slowly. Look around you with sacred eyes. Touch the world like it's alive, because it is. Speak only what's true, because you are. Every space you enter from this point forward is changed by your presence, because your presence is no longer fractured. It is whole. It is aligned. It is awake. You don't need to prove that. You simply need to live it. And in the final chapter, we'll return to where we began, but with new eyes, a new voice, and the full remembrance that what you sought was always you. Chapter 10, The Return. We have reached the final turning, not an ending, a return, not to who you were, but to who you've always been beneath the noise, beneath the patterns, beneath the forgetting. You've walked through the fire of resistance. You've sat with your shadows, your silence, your soul. You've remembered your power, your light, your stillness. And now, you come back, not to the world as it was, but to the world as you are now. This is what changes everything, not the external, but the eyes through which you see it. Now, when you look at life, you no longer ask, what will it give me? You ask, what will I bring into it? Because you're no longer a seeker. You're a source, a well, a field of creation, and you move with reverence, not out of obligation, but because your presence has become holy again. This is your return, the moment when the sacred and the simple become one, where walking to your kitchen is a ceremony, where silence is a sermon, where how you move becomes your message. You don't need to announce it. You don't need to convince anyone. You are the transmission now. The world feels it. The air changes when you walk into a room, not because you speak louder, but because you no longer carry the weight of forgetting. Say this, I remember, I am the embodiment of what I once searched for. I walk as light. I speak as truth. I move as presence. Let those words become your skin, not a mantra, a frequency. Let them shape the way you close your eyes tonight and how you open them tomorrow. Because integration does not mean perfection. It means presence. It means you allow all of you, the human, the soul, the fire, the softness, to walk as one. And that wholeness, It's what the world has been waiting for. Not for you to save it, but for you to show it what's possible when someone lives aligned with who they truly are. So this is my last message to you. Live it. Live what you've remembered here. Not someday. Not when it's easy. Now, when you wake up tomorrow, choose to carry this frequency with your first breath. Not as something you need to hold tightly, but as something that holds you. This is the new foundation. The stillness you return to. The self you no longer abandon. The world you no longer chase. You're no longer looking for the path. You're the path. You're the lighthouse. And all of existence now begins to move in response to your light. Let your life be the altar. Let each moment be the offering. And let presence be the prayer. You are the prayer. You are the remembering. You are the return. You have always been what you were seeking. And now, you know. Chapter 11. The Mirror of Others. Look around you. Every person you encounter, every smile, every silence, every tension, every touch, is a reflection, not of who they are, but of who you are being. And this is not metaphor. This is energetic law. You do not attract relationships. You echo them into form. This is the mirror. It does not lie. It does not judge. It simply reflects. So before we explore the people in your life, we must ask one sacred question. What part of you are they mirroring? When someone dismisses you, are they reflecting the part of you that still doubts your worth? When someone abandons you, are they mirroring the place where you've abandoned yourself? When someone celebrates you, honors you, sees you, are they responding to the light you've finally allowed to shine? This is not blame. This is reclamation, because once you understand the mirror, you no longer need to be afraid of relationships. You use them, you learn from them, you shape them, and you stop handing your peace to people who are simply reflecting the noise still inside you. Let's go deeper. Think now of a relationship that stirs something in you. It could be love, irritation, longing, grief, tension, admiration. Anything that triggers energy, good or bad. Now pause. Don't analyze them. Don't list their traits. Instead ask, what are they showing me about how I see myself? What beliefs do they amplify? What fears do they awaken? What truths do they challenge? What desires do they make visible? And now the deeper layer. If this person were a character in a dream, crafted by your unconscious mind, what part of you would they represent? What voice do they carry from inside your psyche? The inner critic? The unmet child? The future lover? The awakened teacher? Sit with that. Because in dreams, every character is you. And in life, conscious life, the same is often true. This is not about others. This is about the frequency you carry and how it calls people, stories, dynamics into orbit around you. And this is your power. You can shift the mirror at any moment, not by changing them, but by changing the frequency you bring into the room. Let's make it real now. Think of someone who drains you, someone whose energy seems to pull you out of alignment. Instead of resisting them, feel into your body. What do you contract when you think of them? What story about yourself gets activated? Now say this gently. I no longer require this mirror to reflect my old identity. I release them from the role they played in my remembering. And breathe. You're not cutting anyone off. You're simply upgrading the script. Because when you elevate your frequency, you give others the opportunity to meet you there or fall away. Either is grace. And now think of someone who uplifts you. someone who activates joy, peace, truth. Don't pedestal them. Recognize them. They're showing you what you are finally allowing to be seen in yourself. Say this: thank you for reflecting my light back to me. Thank you for reminding me of who I am becoming. Let that gratitude settle into your chest. Let it soften your eyes the next time you see them. Now listen closely. You're not here to fix anyone. You're not here to rescue. You are not here to prove. You are here to mirror their highest self back to them, simply by being yours. That is the most powerful form of love. That is the deepest form of leadership. That is the rarest kind of truth. You don't need to say a word. Just hold the frequency. Just embody the remembering. And the right people will rise to meet you. Not because you asked, but because your presence invited them to remember too. This is how relationships become sacred. Not by effort, by awareness. You're no longer looking for people to complete you. You're choosing to connect from wholeness. Say this now: I'm a mirror, and I attract what I am willing to see. I no longer fear the reflection. I use it to refine my alignment. Breathe. This is the beginning of a new way to love. Not with conditions, but with clarity. Not from lack, but from fullness. And now that you understand the mirror, you're ready to hear the next voice. The one that has always lived inside you. The voice that speaks not through words, but through sensation, rhythm, breath, and instinct. The voice of your body. And it is time to finally listen. Chapter 12, the voice of the body. It never yelled. It never argued. It never punished. It only whispered. Softly, faithfully, patiently. Your body, this vessel of soul, memory, rhythm, and intuition, has been speaking to you since the very beginning. And now, you are finally quiet enough to hear it. This is the next remembering. Not through thought, not through concept, through sensation. Because your body is not a vehicle. It is not a cage. It is not a thing you control. It is a living oracle, a mirror of your emotional truth, a barometer of your boundaries, a compass for your direction, a home for your knowing. And the more present you become, the more you realize it has never lied to you. Not once. The tightness in your chest when you're not meant to be somewhere. The fire in your stomach when your truth is rising. The ache in your throat when your voice wants to speak. The vibration in your hands when a moment is too sacred for silence. This is language. Sacred, somatic, intelligent. The language of your body. You don't need a degree to interpret it. You just need presence. You just need willingness. So let's begin. Right now, bring your awareness to your body. Not to judge, not to fix, just to listen. What is it saying? Where is it open? Where is it holding? Where is it tired of being ignored? Scan with reverence, with compassion, like you would touch the surface of a holy altar. Because that's exactly what this is. Say this softly. Body, I'm listening now. I will no longer abandon your wisdom. Feel how something shifts, how tension begins to soften, just from being acknowledged. This is healing, not the dramatic kind, the quiet kind, because most of the time, your body isn't asking for a solution. It's asking to be seen, to be felt, to be included in the conversation. You've asked the mind for answers for so long. Now it's time to ask the body, what do I truly want? What is no longer safe for me? Where am I leaking my energy? What would it feel like to be at peace? And the answers won't come as words. They will come as relaxation, as tingles, as breath returning, as a sensation of yes. This is how the body says truth. It expands. This is how the body says no. It tightens. The body doesn't need logic. It recognizes alignment instantly. And every time you override it, for comfort, for people, for approval, you drift further from your own center. But when you honor it, even in small moments, you create safety inside yourself again. And when your body feels safe, you become unstoppable. You trust your timing. You rest without guilt. You express without fear. You move with intuitive precision. You no longer walk through life negotiating your needs. You walk like someone who belongs. Because you do. Say this now. My body is my compass. My sensations are sacred. My presence is enough to create healing. And believe it, because from this moment forward, you will no longer abandon your embodiment for the illusion of logic. You will no longer silence your signals to keep someone else comfortable. You will no longer shrink to fit a frequency your body is already outgrown. You are whole, not because your body is perfect, but because you have made peace with its voice. And now, you are ready to use that voice not just to protect, but to lead, to say the thing you've held in for too long, to name what no longer fits, to draw the lines that set your energy free. It's time to speak the sacred now. Chapter 13, the sacred now. There is a sound more powerful than any affirmation, more liberating than any mantra, more aligned than any forced yes. It is a quiet, grounded, unshakable no. Not the no that comes from fear, not the no that hides or attacks, but the no that rises from deep cellular truth, the no that protects the field, the no that preserves the frequency, the no that declares your worth without apology. This is the sacred no, and it is time for you to speak it. You see, for too long, you've mistaken kindness for compliance, love for overextension, spirituality for silence. But love without boundaries is not love. It is abandonment. Kindness without discernment is not kindness. It is depletion. And a yes that costs your peace is always a no to your soul. Let's name this clearly. You are allowed to say no to energy that drains, to invitations that pull you off path, to expectations that don't honor your becoming, to conversations where your truth is not welcome. No is not rejection. No is direction. And every sacred no is a yes to something higher. Your clarity, your alignment, your evolution. So let's practice. Think now of something in your life that you've been tolerating, quietly, politely, habitually, something that contracts you, something that dims you, something that takes more than it returns. You don't need to name it aloud. Just feel it. Let your body respond to it. Feel where you've overridden your own signal. Now say this gently. No, I do not offer my energy here anymore. No, this is not aligned with my highest self. No, because I deserve to move only in truth. And breathe. Feel the space it creates inside you. Not tension, space. Room to expand. Room to receive. Room to be. Your sacred no doesn't need explanation. It doesn't need to make sense to others. It only needs to feel aligned with you. Because alignment is the only clarity you need now. Let's go deeper. I want you to imagine saying no in the moment it matters most. Not with resentment, not with fear, with love, with a steady gaze and open heart. Not I'm sorry, but just. This no is my medicine, and I trust you'll understand, or you won't. But I'm no longer abandoning myself for either. Let that become your new baseline. Not defiance, devotion. Because every time you say yes when you mean no, you dilute your own field. You teach your nervous system that your truth is negotiable. You tell the universe that your boundaries can be ignored. But when you say no with sacred clarity, you restore your signal. You anchor your vibration. You become immovable. That is when the world reorganizes itself around your integrity. People may fall away. Let them. New people may enter. Welcome them. Opportunities may close. Let them. What aligns will remain. What matches your new frequency will arrive. And all of it will come. Not because you chased it, but because you created space for it. Say this with me. No is not a wall. It is a doorway to truth. My no is sacred, and my yes is now fully alive. This is power, not in volume, but in precision, in discernment, In embodiment, you're not here to please. You are here to live aligned. You are not here to be palatable. You are here to be true. And now that you've said no to the noise, to the chaos, to the patterns of self-abandonment, you are ready to say yes to the pause, to the stillness, to the sacred space where nothing happens on the surface, but everything is growing underground. It's time now to trust the soil, to enter the mystery, to become the hidden seed. Chapter 14, the hidden seed. Not everything that's growing looks alive on the surface. There are seasons in your becoming when everything feels still, silent, uncertain. Nothing blooms. No answers arrive. No movement is seen. But don't be fooled. These are not empty seasons. They are sacred ones. They are underground chapters. They're where roots are made. This is the lesson of the hidden seed. Growth does not always look like progress, and silence does not mean you are lost. There are moments in your evolution when life pulls you inward, below the noise, below the identity, below the surface, and it may feel like death, like the absence of momentum, like forgetting who you are. But I'm here to tell you, this is not the end. This is the becoming beneath the becoming. The part no one sees, the part no one applauds, the part no one can validate for you. And yet, it is the most essential part of all, because the most powerful versions of you were never born in moments of clarity. They were born in the dark, in the still, in the deep quiet, where your soul rewrites itself from the inside out. This is where identity melts, where timelines dissolve, where the soil of your past becomes nourishment for the self that is emerging. You're not stuck. You are germinating. So stop trying to rise before your roots are ready. Stop judging yourself for not blooming in public. Stop comparing your winter to someone else's spring. There is nothing wrong with you. You are not behind. You are below, and that is holy ground. Let me guide you now into this space. Close your eyes. Inhale slow. Exhale softer. Feel the quiet. Feel the weight. Feel the stillness. Now say this: I surrender to the season I'm in. I trust what is being built beneath what I can see. I am not finished. I am becoming. And breathe again. Can you feel it? The pulse inside the pause. The warmth inside the waiting. The light that is already inside the soil. Because there is a difference between nothing happening and everything happening beyond visibility. This chapter is here to teach you one thing. Patience is not passive. It is powerful. You are being asked to trust timing, not as something outside you, but as something coded into your own becoming. And yes, you may feel tempted to speed it up, to plant again, to bloom too early, to force the unfolding. But you've done that before, haven't you? And you know where it leads. To growth that doesn't last, to roots that don't hold, to fruit that can't feed the soul. You don't want temporary. You want true. And true takes time. Not time on the clock. Time in the soul. Time in the soil. So let go now of urgency. Let go of timelines. Let go of the lie that if it's not seen, it's not real. Say this with me. My becoming is sacred, even when no one can see it. My roots are forming, and that is more than enough. Let these words become your rhythm. Let them guide your rest. Let them soften your expectations. Let them remind you that stillness is often the most active form of transformation. And one day soon, maybe quietly, maybe suddenly, you will rise. You will feel the sun again, and you will not be fragile. You will be anchored. You will be ready. You will be whole, because you did not skip the dark. You honored it. You lived it. You trusted it. And now you are ready to rise with a frequency that can hold what you're calling in. But before you rise, you must learn to feel everything fully, to listen to your emotions, not as distractions, but as teachers. It's time to enter the next chamber of remembrance, the alchemy of emotion. Chapter 15, the alchemy of emotion. Emotion is not weakness. It is not distraction. It is not something to be suppressed, silenced, or solved. Emotion is energy in motion. It is truth trying to move through you. It is spirit speaking in the language of sensation. And the more you resist it, the more you block the current that could set you free. You were never meant to get over your feelings. You were meant to go through them, not as a victim, as an alchemist. You see, true spiritual power does not come from avoiding the fire. It comes from standing inside it and letting it refine you. Sadness is not your enemy. It is grief pulling wisdom to the surface. Anger is not chaos. It is clarity with heat. Fear is not failure. It is a signal. You are standing on the edge of expansion. Every feeling you've labeled too much have been trying to give you something. A message, a movement, a mirror, a map. But to receive it, you must stop running, stop numbing, stop bypassing. You must do the most courageous thing of all. Feel it, not just think about it. Feel it, right now, what is present in you. Not what you should feel, not what's acceptable, what's real. Scan your body like a sacred temple. Where's the tightness, the weight, the heat, the ache? Where is the alchemy waiting to happen? Let's begin. Place your hand on that part of your body. Close your eyes. Breathe into it. Don't fix it. Don't judge it. Just stay with it. Let the feeling rise. Let it burn. Let it speak. You're not weak. You are alive. And you don't need to be rescued. You need to be felt. Fully. Without condition. Without timeline. This is how emotion transforms. Not through force. Through presence. You don't release it by pushing it away. You release it by holding it with love, until it no longer needs to fight to be seen. Say this now. I allow myself to feel. I do not fear my feelings. I honor them as guides. My body is safe for my emotions to move through. And breathe. Feel how your emotion is energy, longing to complete its cycle. Emotion that is suppressed becomes symptoms. Emotion that is allowed becomes insight. This is the work, not to manage emotion like a problem, but to mine it like gold. You're the alchemist now, turning fear into fuel, grief into grace, anger into direction, longing into vision. You're no longer reacting. You are reverently receiving. And from this new seat of embodiment, you gain access to something even deeper. Trust. Not the kind that depends on outcomes. Not the kind that needs constant signs. The kind that pulses in your chest, even when everything on the outside is uncertain. The kind that holds you steady when nothing else does. The kind that becomes your frequency, even in the dark. In the next chapter, you will learn how to live with that kind of unshakable faith. Not belief, embodied trust. Chapter 16. The pulse of trust. Trust is not a concept. It is not a thought you repeat until it feels true. It is not a blind leap into the dark. Trust is a frequency, a living current, a pulse beneath the surface of every sacred decision. And when you learn to feel it, to move with it, you no longer wait for signs. You become the sign. You stop asking, "Is this right?" and start asking, "Does this resonate?" Because trust doesn't come from control. It comes from connection. Connection with your knowing. Connection with your body. Connection with the timeline that already exists, where you're already held. Let's begin here. Remember a time when you knew something, before there was evidence. You couldn't explain it, but something inside you felt calm, certain, clear. That was trust. And that feeling wasn't given to you. It came from you. It came from me, your future self, whispering through the veil. Keep going. You're closer than you think. Now remember a time when you ignored that voice, when you chose logic over resonance, when you doubted your own intuition. What happened? Not as punishment, but as redirection, because trust never abandons you. You abandon it. But now you're learning to stay, to listen, to wait, not in fear, but in confidence that timing is sacred. even when it is silent. That is the pulse of trust. Subtle, still, steady. It does not scream. It echoes. It sounds like, rest here a little longer. Not this door. Speak now. Go anyway. Be patient. Wait, just a little more. Trust doesn't guarantee ease, but it guarantees alignment. And that alignment will save you from years of misdirection, disconnection, distortion. So how do you live in trust? You choose not to collapse into urgency. You choose not to act from fear. You choose to stay close to your breath, even when your mind races. You choose to honor your timing, even when the world tells you you're late. Because truth does not rush. And what is meant for you isn't waiting at the finish line. It's meeting you here. In every moment, you choose presence over panic. Let's practice now. Close your eyes. Place one hand on your belly, one on your heart. Feel their rhythm. Feel the breath rising between them. Now say, slowly, softly, I trust the rhythm of my life. I trust what I cannot yet see. I trust the version of me I am becoming. And breathe. Let the words settle, not just in your mind, but in your body, because the body always remembers what the mind tries to forget. Let it remind you now. Trust is not passivity. It is participation with the invisible. It is saying yes to the silence, yes to the detour, yes to the pause. And sometimes it is saying yes to the leap, even when you don't yet know how you'll land. Because the trust you cultivate now is the frequency that creates every next unfolding. It's what brings the people, the calls, the timing, the doors that only open for those who trust before they see. So walk slowly now, with reverence, with steadiness, with peace. You don't need to be certain. You only need to be committed. And now that you are, you'll notice something else rising in you. A subtle call, not to lead by force, but to lead by frequency, to step forward, not for approval, but because your presence has become a permission slip for others to rise too. It's time to step into it. The invitation to lead. Chapter 17, the invitation to lead. You've spent this entire journey, not becoming someone new, but remembering someone ancient. Someone who leads not from position, but from presence. Not through noise, but through frequency. This is the invitation, and it does not arrive in a spotlight. It arrives as a whisper. Not you must, but you're ready. You're not being asked to lead others. Not first. You're being asked to lead yourself. With consistency, with integrity, with truth that doesn't shake when eyes are on you. Because when your alignment becomes your anchor, your walk becomes your teaching. You don't need a platform. You don't need a stage. You don't need permission. Your vibration is your leadership. Let that land. You lead every time you choose stillness. Overproving. Every time you speak the truth no one else dares to say. Gently. Grounded. Every time you hold your frequency, even when the room leans another way. This is not about charisma. This is about coherence. Your inner and outer matching so fully that the space around you cannot help but respond with resonance. You've felt this before, haven't you? In the presence of someone who didn't say much, but who made you feel like you could breathe deeper. Stand taller. Remember who you are. That wasn't magic. It was embodiment. And now, that presence is you. But only if you say yes. So say it now. Softly. Clearly. Not for show. For soul. I accept the invitation to lead. Not through force, but by example. Not to be followed, but to awaken. I lead by being fully myself. Feel what that activates. Feel what it realigns. Because this is not about stepping into the front. It's about stepping into your frequency. Fully, consistently, unapologetically. And knowing that whoever needs to find you will feel you. They won't need convincing. They'll just know. Because the truth doesn't shout. It resonates. And your truth, now embodied, will ripple outward in ways you may never see. but will always shape. So lead now, quietly, softly, surely. Lead with how you breathe, how you choose, how you stay. Let the world remember itself by how you remember who you are. And in every room you enter from this point on, ask yourself not, will they see me? But what frequency am I bringing into this space? Because that is leadership. And now that you've said yes, fully, to yourself, to your path, to your light, there's only one thing left to do. Live it. Every breath, every moment, every step. This is the new beginning, not a repetition, a revelation. And if you ever forget again, that's okay. Just come back here, to the voice inside you, to the stillness, to this remembering. You're the lighthouse now. You're the frequency. You are the return. If this journey moved something inside you, if even one sentence echoed deeper than your thoughts, if your breath slowed, if your chest softened, if you remembered even a glimpse of who you truly are, then this wasn't just a video, it was a return. And now, if you're ready to keep walking, to keep remembering, to keep aligning with the voice that lives within you, subscribe so you never forget again. Share this with someone whose soul has been whispering, waiting, searching for a moment like this. Every day, we bring words to feed the soul, to clear the noise, to bring you home. And remember, you don't need to become anything more. You only need to live what you already are. Subscribe, share, return. This is just the beginning.